Bright QT. Every student matters.
Good morning, class. So today we are going to start a new lesson for class 11. So in this entire lesson, we are going to learn about another part of history. Until now, we had been learning about Indian history, various aspects of it. But for this class, we are going to look at European history. All right. So now, before we begin and before we go on to learn about different aspects of European history or about different empires, different rulers, about different events, important events in European history, first we are going to look at the introduction. Okay, so chapter 4 of your book is an introduction to your entire chapters that you're going to learn this year. All right. So this introduction will help you help you have a brief understanding as to what all the chapters are about, what they contain, what it consists of. All right, and what are you going to take away from these learnings, from these chapters? What will be your learnings? What are you going to learn about? All right, and how this year's history section or this year's history lessons are different from, say, for example, the previous year. Okay, let us begin. Now, you have to think of Europe. Okay, so just like how you imagine India, say for example, in the ancient period, in the medieval period, during the time of the Mughal rulers, or in the modern period during the time of the British rule. So in the similar manner, imagine Europe, okay? Somewhat in your mind, picture the present day Europe and areas lying around it, all right? So in Europe, before we are going to learn about the main chapters or the main events in European history, we have to understand one thing, that is Alexander the Great was one of the greatest ruler in Europe. Okay, before the period of our study begins. Now, Alexander the Great, after he dies, after his empire falls, declines, right? Then what happens? What did that death or what did the fall of Alexander the Great lead to? What was the result of it? What was the outcome of it? Okay, so after Alexander's death and after the fall of his empire, the Italian city of Rome, all right, that took advantage of the situation, all right, that took the advantage of the political decline of the empire, and it established its control over North Africa and the Eastern Mediterranean from the 2nd century BC onwards. So from 2nd century means from 200 BC onwards, right? BC onwards, Rome took control of the North African countries or North African regions and also Eastern Mediterranean region. All right. Now, briefly, you don't need to look at the map right now because when we look at the proper chapters, when we go chapter by chapter, we'll get maps to sort of get an idea of the geographical area that we are talking about. But in any case, if you have a map available near you, you can take an atlas or a map and then you can see where the Mediterranean Sea is and the region outlining the Mediterranean Sea is called the Mediterranean region, right? So the eastern part of that Mediterranean region was taken control by Rome, okay, by Rome, and it also took control of the areas lying in the northern part of Africa, okay, the present day Morocco and parts of Egypt, etc. All right. Now, at that time, Rome was not a monarchical area. There was no a supreme or absolute power that was enjoyed by an emperor or a ruler. Rome was a republic. Now, what does republic mean? Republic is a state, is a government. Okay, it's a government where people elect their leader, where people elect and choose their leader who is going to lead them. All right, so that kind of government, that kind of political setup, administrative setup is called republic. So Rome at that time was a republic. So in course of time, Rome happened to become or evolve or come out as one of the greatest empires under the Roman rulers like Julius Caesar. Okay, so Julius Caesar was one of the greatest Roman emperor, and he became the undisputed master of the Roman Empire in 37 BC. So he ruled Roman Empire in the first century BC. Now, of course, this empire also came to an end. Okay, but before it came to an end, it had extensive control over a vast tract of land. Okay, so the Roman Empire extended, it expanded to even the present day United Kingdom and Germany. So North Europe was also part of the Roman Empire. Okay, such vast area was under the control of the Roman emperors. All right. Now, Latin, okay, language. Latin was the main language of the empire or the Roman Empire during the Roman emperor's reign. Okay, there were changes in the political structure of the empire in the late 1st century BC. So the Roman emperors did bring some changes in the structures of their empire, in the administration of the empire. So these changes were seen from the late or later part of the 1st century BC. That means later part of 100 BC, okay, towards the end. About the end of the 4th century, Roman Christianity became the legal faith of the empire. And towards the end of 4th century AC, AD, okay? So after BC comes AD, okay? BC is before Christ. So from 100 it goes down and down, like 99, 98, right? And then 0, and then 1 AD, 2 AD, 3 AD, 4 AD, 100 AD, 150 AD, 200 AD, right? So around the end of 400 AD, the legal faith or the religion of the empire was Roman Christianity. Christianity became the religion of the empire, okay? So Latin was the language of the empire and Christianity was the religion of the empire. Now for the administrative purposes, now if you'll see when we learn about the Roman Empire was a vast empire, okay? So because of its vastness, because of how expansive it was, how extensive it was, it had to be divided into two main sections for the purpose of easy administration, for easy functioning of the entire empire. If it's too vast, then the emperor cannot look at every part of the empire, okay? It needs time, it needs lot of money, so it becomes easier when the vast territory is divided into two or whatever number is convenient for the emperor, and then to appoint ministers, nobles to look after the administration of these sections or of these newly created provinces. All right. So in the similar manner, for administrative purposes, for its better functioning, the Roman Empire was also divided into two halves. One was the Eastern Roman Empire and the other was the Western Roman Empire. And this was divided in the 4th century AD. Okay. Now in the beginning of the 4th century AD, the Roman emperors could neither prevent large-scale invasions of Franks, Burgundians, Visigoths and Vandals of Gaul, Spain and Africa, nor the ultimate indignity of the sack of Rome by the barbarians in 410 and again in 455 AD. Now of course the Roman Empire was attacked by enemies. It was invaded by the people living living outside of its territory. Okay, so there were many Germanic tribes. So these Franks, Burgundians, Visigoths, these were all Germanic tribes. Okay, they lived in the northern European region. Okay, so these tribes, they belong to their different clans, say for example different groups, say for example Franks, Burgundians, Visigoths. So they all invaded the Roman Empire throughout its rule. Okay, now, the Roman Empire, despite being such a vast empire, despite being such a powerful empire in Europe during that time, but there was a time where it could no longer stop these invasions, when it could no longer fight back, okay, protect its territory. All right, so finally in the 4th century, in 410 and 455 AD, these Germanic tribes were able to take over Rome and also the empire. Okay, finally in or take over, not take over, but control or sack, okay, sack Rome. All right, finally in 476 AD, Augustus, the last of the West Roman emperors, was forced to abdicate the throne by Odoacer, the German leader of a band of mercenary soldiers. So finally in 476 AD, the last Roman emperor in the Western Roman Empire, who was Augustus, so he was forced to give up his throne, okay, to the Germanic leader, to one of the Germanic tribes leader, whose name was Odoacer. Okay, so the Roman Empire came to a decline with the result of that. Okay. But however, the Eastern Roman Empire, the eastern part of the empire, continued to be strong. Okay, that was not taken control by the Germanic tribes, and it continued to be strong for the next 1000 years. So you can imagine that even when the Western Roman Empire fell to the hands of Germanic tribes, the Eastern continued to be strong and continued to hold a strong position in Europe. Okay. Almost all the lands of Eastern Roman Empire centered on Constantinople, which was the capital, okay, were conquered and occupied by the Arab Empire created by the followers of Prophet Muhammad. Now these the territories, the Roman Empire's territory in the eastern part, in its eastern part, now those territories including Constantinople later was then taken over, was captured by the Arab Empire, okay, by the Arab rulers. And these Arab rulers, these Arab invaders, they were followers of Prophet Muhammad. They practiced Islam, okay. So with the fall of the Roman Empire, there was also the emergence of the Arab Empire, okay. So these two empires, one the Roman Empire and the other the Arab Empire, these were the two important empires in Europe during the time that we are studying. Okay. The Arab Empire was founded by the followers of Prophet Muhammad in the 7th century. So the Arab Empire was founded by Muslim rulers. Okay, and they were followers of their leader Prophet Muhammad. Okay, and they founded their empire, they established their empire in the 7th century, and it was centered in Damascus. Okay, now it was under Harun Rashid that Baghdad, the capital city, flourished into a splendid city of the period. So there were few cities which did very well during the time of the Arab rulers. So one of them was Baghdad, okay, the city of Baghdad that evolved into a splendid city of the period. Okay, now despite the Arabs and the Roman emperors, okay, being rival and fighting with each other. They were enemies, okay? Despite that, they had close interaction, okay? They had close interaction, and because of this close interaction, they shared traditions. They had shared traditions, and they came in contact with each other and established relationships, all right? So what kind of relationships, right? Like commercial relationships. They traded with each other. The merchants from the Arab Empire and the merchants from the Roman Empire traded with each other. Okay, and this trade flourished. Okay, and the region became the region prospered. All right, both empires became wealthy. All right, and this attracted, because of how they prospered, because of the flourishing trade and commerce between the two, this attracted other enemies to come and attack them, because they were wealthy. If they were invaded and if they were destroyed, then the wealth would be used by the enemy rulers, right? So because of this reason, various Turkish tribes often attacked the cities of the region and established their control over them. So just like how the Germanic tribes were attacking and invading the Roman Empire, especially the western part of the Roman Empire, in the similar manner, the Turkish tribes were also attacking and invading the Arab Empire. Okay, and they also sometimes were able to succeed in their invasion and gain control over some of them. Okay, the last of the people to attack the Arab Empire were the Mongols under the Genghis Khan. So the last of these invaders to Arab Empire were the Mongols. Okay, another group of people, Mongols, and the Mongols who attacked the Arab Empire were those under their ruler Genghis Khan. Okay. Now Genghis Khan was very important ruler of that time. Okay, so his successors moved into West Asia, Europe, Central Asia, and China in the 13th century. The successors of Genghis Khan, okay, they were so successful in expanding their empire, in invading and extending their empire, that they moved to West Asia, Europe, Central Asia, as well as China. So you can imagine their influence and control extended from Europe to Asia through Central Asia. All right. Now, if you think about it, okay, one thing that we have to understand is that here we can see Roman Empire, we can see the Arab Empire, and then we also see all these different tribes which were located, which were situated, or the tribes, the different tribes like Germanic tribes, the Turkish tribes, who lived on the outside of the territory of the Roman Empire and the Arab Empire. They were all invading and attacking, and they were always fighting with each other. Okay, so why were these fights, these wars, these battles, these invasions, these attacks taking place? The only reason was the attempt to be in control. They were eager to establish an empire. They were eager to gain control of large territories. Okay? They were eager to control these territories so that they can gain control of the resources, of the trading networks, of the economy, okay, that existed in the whole of the region of the empire. Okay? So the rulers from different tribes, along with the Roman emperors and Arab emperors, they were fighting with each other so that they can gain control over the land, over the territory, and with that control they can gain control over the resources, right? And also the trade networks, which were very beneficial for the economy and development of the particular region. All right. Now another motive Another motive for these attacks and invasions and wars was to drive benefit from the links of the region with China and India. So another very important reason for these fights were that these areas, okay, these empires, they had connections or links with far-flung countries like India and China. Okay, and these links were for trade. So these Roman emperors, Arab emperors, they traded with far-flung countries like India and China. So and we know that this trade was very profitable. This trade was very good. All right. So the Germanic tribes, the Turkish tribes, they wanted to gain control of these trade links, of these connections that the Roman Empire and the Arab Empire had established with far-flung countries like China and India. Okay, because with control of those links, the emperor, the ruler, would become rich as a result of the prosperous and flourishing trade between these two regions or these two parts of the world. Okay. So all the empires that were established during this period, okay, the Roman Empire, the Arab Empire, they established administrative systems, very good administrative systems, so that they can strengthen the trade links. The trade relations between these empires were very important for the economy of the empire. Okay, so because of that, with every emperor coming to rule the empire, the emperor would make sure that the administrative system was strengthened, was made so strong that it could then focus on strengthening, on making the trade relations and the trade links stronger between different countries. Okay. Apart from that, these empires also set up different types of military organizations. They also strengthened their military troops, their soldiers, their army, navy, different military organizations. All right. And in these empires, we can see some emperors were very successful, while some emperors were not. All right. So sometimes the achievements of the empire, okay, the hard work which an emperor did to make us a very strong administrative system, established a very strong military organizations, they were sometimes taken up by its successors, by the emperor who came next to that emperor, who actually brought those changes and who actually reorganized the administrative system and the military systems. Okay. Now in the Arab Empire, besides Persian, okay, they spoke just like in the Roman Empire, Latin was the language of the empire, right? So in Arab Empire, besides Persian, okay, they spoke Persian, but besides Persian, they spoke Greek, they spoke Latin and Arabic, along with many other languages. Okay, so these languages were spoken and these languages were also used to write books, to write texts, to write legal documents, or to also communicate with the government, with the ministers. Okay, so these were important languages. All right. Now the empires, as you will see when we look at the chapters, okay, these empires were not consistent, meaning that they did not last long. All right, because they were always fighting with the enemies, they were always fighting with different groups within the empire, there were always conflicts and disputes over resources, over trade links, over other things, okay, agricultural produce in various regions. So because of this fights, disputes, conflicts within the empire as well as outside the empire with the enemies, the empires were were never consistent. Okay, the empires came to an end, it was replaced by another, again that was replaced by another. The emperors did not last long. So many emperors came one after the other, and they were quickly removed by another one. Okay, so the empires were not consistent. Okay, now in these empires, of course, we already learned that trade links, the trade relations between other countries were very important. Okay, but important role was also played by religion. Okay, religion played important roles in these empires because it helped in the formation of the large empire itself. Okay, for example, Christianity, which we know was the legal faith of the Roman Empire. Okay, so Christianity helped in formation of the Roman Empire, in strengthening of the Roman Empire. In the similar manner, Islam, okay, Islam became important religion for the Arab Empire. Okay, it was the legal faith of the Arab Empire, and it contributed just like Christianity in Roman Empire to the establishment of large empires, large Muslim empires. Okay, so we will see as we go from each chapter, okay, as we learn about each chapter in this class, how religion, trade played a big role in the establishment of empires, both in Rome as well as both in the Roman Empire as well as in the Arab Empire and outside of it. Okay.